Your AC turns on, but you're sweating inside of your RV. Let's walk through a few things you can check before having to call in some help. If your fan's blowing air, but you have weak airflow out of your vents, let's make sure the ductwork is in good shape, because bad ductwork means bad airflow. Start off with, let's look at the filters. Now these ones will be pretty clean, but I'll put some pictures on the screen of customers' ones that were very, very dirty. Dust, debris on these filters can block airflow into the AC unit, which will definitely slow the airflow out of the unit and not cool very well. Sometimes it's a simple cleaning. Other times it could be some collapsed ductwork or you have some issues inside of there. If you looked up inside of here, you can use a flashlight in your phone, look back in there to make sure things are open and clear. If a ductwork broke down over time and it collapsed, it can block the airflow and restrict things. That's a little bit more work, but it's definitely fixable. And while you're up there, you might see some loose foil tape and gaps in the ductwork. So if air is blowing through the ductwork into the attic cavity, it's not blowing into the room where you want the cold air. If you seal those areas up with some foil tape, it can easily take care of the problem. Now let's go look at a different style of filters in ductwork, different than this style, so you can see what else you can look for. Now on this style air conditioner, we have the big square on the inside. We'll pop off the intake filter side and look at the ductwork. So this will be your filter, just like the other one I showed you. Check to make sure that's clean. But what we're looking at inside of here is the actual ductwork itself. So this side is where the intake air comes in, going into the AC unit. And this side is where air comes out. And we're going to look at the divider between. That's the piece of metal or foam that's between there. If this is loose, air can get between the discharge side and the intake side, and it cycles around, doesn't come out your vents, and it short cycles through the AC unit itself. And this one I can pop off this side pretty easy, so let me show you that. Now looking on the back side, these are your vents and ductwork going out to the rest of the RV. If you see this right back here, so this foil tape is loose and is partially blocking the ductwork, so that is a restriction on the airflow going out. That can be fixed up in there, and make sure this area across here is sealed up so air is not going from the discharge side back to the intake side. You might see some gaps on this side that you couldn't see on the intake side. And we look inside of there, and this area is where the air flows out through your vents. You can see it's quite narrower on the right hand side. So that means that foil tape is loose and it's blocking the ductwork. So that needs a new foil tape on it to keep things secured so air flows out properly. And this is the back side of your plenum divider. So this is nice and smooth and sealed off well. If there were gaps in this, like you saw gaps in the other side, you can seal up either side with foil tape to make sure air is not leaking between one side and the other. And while you're around the control box in this part of the AC unit, if you want to use a multimeter, you can check the amp draw of the compressor. The wire you would check is coming out of the control box. On Dometic, you'll have a rectangle 6-pin connector. You look at the wires in there, you'll see a blue wire. That blue wire is going to the compressor. So that's where we'll put our multimeter, setting it to amps AC. When the AC unit is on cool, that should read amps on it. And the number of amps you'll read is based on the sticker of the AC unit. So come around over this way. If you're looking on the sticker, you look for the RLA cool number. So this one says 12.7. Now what that 12.7 means is 12.7 amps when it's 95 degrees at the roof temperature. If it is less than that, you basically figure 1 amp less for every 10 degrees under 95 degrees. So if we are 75 degrees outside, we should see about 10.7 amps at 120 volts. So now I'm going to fire up the AC, put an amp meter on it, and see what it reads. And we'll take our multimeter, set it to amps AC. In this top portion up here, this is where the wire goes through. We'll open it up and put it around the blue wire. And we're on the blue wire for this Dometic AC unit. It sometimes can be a black wire or a purple wire. You have to follow the wiring diagram to know for sure based on which unit you're working on. You can also check it right here out of the control box, or by pulling the cover off the AC unit on the roof and checking the wire into the air conditioner compressor. And I know this is not 101 level, so if this part isn't you, we'll come back to 101 level stuff here in just a second, but people want to know this stuff, so we're adding it in. Next up, I'll turn the AC on, and we'll see what we're reading for amps. Now as you can see, we're reading not quite 8 amps right now. It'll take around 10 to 15 minutes before the AC gets up to full amperage for your proper reading. As you can see, the amps are climbing right now, and you'll verify that based on your outside ambient temperature. Now that I have the air turned off so you can hear me better, I mentioned ambient conditions a second ago, and ambient conditions outside can definitely affect the AC performance. If it's really humid outside, the AC will work harder and not cool quite as well. The RV is radiating all that heat in as well. Where maybe an undersized AC unit, that's all it can do in the heat of the day is just barely maintain a temperature, and it won't cool down until the nighttime. Or it could be some issues like dirty coils in the AC unit on the roof itself. So let's go up there and check it out. Okay, I'm on the roof, and of course, as it always goes, the wind's gonna blow, neighbor's gonna cut the grass, so I put the wind muff on so that way it'll cancel out the other noise, hopefully. And Erica hates this thing, so you won't see much of my face the rest of this clip, but we're gonna talk about why dirty coils can affect the airflow. And to get to the coils, then you take the covers off so you can see it. Every AC unit's a little bit different, but I'll go around, take the screws off, pull the cover off, and we'll go from there. Now as you saw the set of coils when I took the cover off, that's towards the rear of the RV. Those are your condenser coils. And the other set of coils is in the front of the RV side. So we'll pull this cover off. And this one, this foam cover, just pops straight up. You might be stuck a little bit with some sticky stuff, but it will pull straight up. Now these coils you see here, these are the evaporator coils. Now let's get into some basic terms. This area right down here, this is where your intake filter was, so we were looking up at the control box inside. So your air is flowing in from the room, up this way, and going through these coils. So if these coils are dirty and blocked, it'll slow the airflow down. In this situation, this AC unit is cleaned and maintained well, so these are good, clean coils where air will flow through well. I'll pop some pictures up on the screen of some dirty coils inside of customers' RVs. That way you can see what you don't want to see on your coils where they need to be cleaned. Now the air will continue flowing through these coils, and this fan will spin, pushing air back down, and it'll go out the vents through the ceiling of the RV. So that's how the air circulates from coming in from the room and back down to the room. Through this coil, it gets really, really cold. Now this coil back here, your condenser coil, this one gets hot because for one to be cold, the other one has to get hot. So this fan blade here blows air past that coil to cool it down so it doesn't get too hot on that coil. If this coil inside up here is blocked, it won't let air flow through properly, and the AC unit can work too hard, overheat, and trip the breaker inside of the RV. So, two different coils, two different symptoms, two different issues, but they both need to be cleaned. Now, sometimes your compressor's not engaging, which is this black round can underneath of the cover. If this is not engaging, it's not pumping through the Freon to make things cool. And this guy here, as I mentioned earlier, is the fan motor to move the air. And over there behind that cover, it does say warning and danger because there's a capacitor underneath of that. That makes things like the fan and the compressor run. So something up here is not working. That's a little bit more advanced than I'm going to cover in this video. Now we're done on the roof. Let's go back inside and cover some frequently asked questions. I think you can hear me much better. I can hear myself think much better in here. Now, if my coils are dirty, how do I clean them? Well, the great news, I have a full video showing you how to do that. I'll link it in the description. And guess what? It was windy that day too. That's my luck, right? Now, can a bad thermostat cause your AC compressor not to kick on? Yes, it certainly can, but there's also other components that can cause it not to run as well. So you'll want to properly diagnose if the thermostat is actually bad before you just buy parts and throw money at it. Is it normal for the AC to run constantly on hot days? Yes, sometimes it's really hot outside. It's all your AC can do is barely keep up and maintain during the daytime. If you feel everything has been maintained properly, clean coils, clean filters, good ductwork, and it still is not cooling, it might be all it can do, or you can try something like the RV Airflow or the Cool RV, which helps distribute the airflow and make airflow better out of the AC unit. And I'll link those products in the description down below. Why is one AC vent blowing colder air or more air than the others? Well, your vents that are closer to the AC unit are going to have more airflow, stronger airflow, and colder, and ones that are further away will have warmer air and a weaker airflow. That's just naturally how air is going to flow through the ductwork. Now, if one whole side of the RV is not getting cold, but the other one is, that means you have some blocked ductwork like we talked about earlier. Can duct tape be used to seal gaps in RV ductwork? Well, ductwork, duct tape, this sounds like that should work, right? But in reality, you want to use some foil tape. So this one I use, foil tape, has a little paper backer on the back of it. It works really well, and it sticks inside the ductwork. And there's different sizes. These are in our Amazon store. I'll link these rolls in the description down below. People always ask me, do you have a link to this, a link to that? We have everything in our Amazon store. It's broken down by categories and lists. You can search through that, whether it's maintenance, repair, or things to use everyday mobile RV tech work. And lastly, is the temperature out of the AC unit always supposed to be really, really cold? Well, no, this varies based on air temperature going into the AC unit. That's the air coming in from the room. So for example, if it's 100 degrees outside, we all know the RVs heat up really fast, so it very well could be 120 or 130 inside of the RV. So your AC unit is sucking in that 120 degree air, and AC units have what's called a delta T. They typically can drop the air temperature down 20 degrees. 16 to 20 is realistic. In humid areas, it might only be 12, and some units may be closer to 30. If we aim for that 20 degree mark difference for the air coming into the unit versus out of the unit, that unit is performing properly, and it's just going to take a while to cool that room down. Now, if you've tried everything in this video and your AC still isn't cooling, at that point, it's time to call an RV tech for help. If your RV AC has other issues, like it's tripping a breaker, it's not turning on, or making strange noises, you want to check out the other videos in this series, and I have those linked in the description of this video, along with a link to the tech locator.